Ahead tonight, sick benefits could soon be a thing of the past for everyone.
The Labor Minister weighs in on the BUT strike vote.
And a phone call from your wrist. The future is now. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Everyday.
A decision at the National Insurance Board has a far-reaching impact nationwide. Good evening, I'm Kendino Knowles.
And good evening, Bahamas. I'm Altaviz Munnings. The government has made a decision on that ongoing dispute with the Bahamas Electricity Corporation and employees surrounding the collection of both National Insurance Board sick benefits and salary. And as Clint Watson tells us tonight, the intervention by the government is expected to help reduce the expenditure of the public purse, but at the same time extend a courtesy to government workers that they've been allowed to enjoy for years.
Labor and National Insurance Minister Shane Gibson believes the time has come for the National Insurance Board sick benefit that the Bahamas Electricity Corporation and other government employees have enjoyed for decades to now come to an end. And despite what the views of others are, the minister does not view the practice as double dipping.
The National Insurance Act is very clear. It says specifically that the employer may or may not require the employee to turn over any funds that is paid to them for certain benefits. And so it gives the employer the right to decide whether or not that is done. Now, that was put in the National Insurance Act from inception. And over the years, some employers chose to allow employees to keep the benefit along with their full salaries. And some employers made a requirement for employees to turn over those benefits to them. And so when you say double dipping, I don't know that is properly describing what is happening. And it was discussed many times. While I was president of the union, we discussed it, and it was agreed at that time that employees would keep it.
Minister Gibson recognizes that since the matter came to light through a dispute at BC, the government has made a decision to standardize a policy across the board, particularly as it looks for opportunities to cut back on expenses.
The one thing that we didn't want to do is to just suddenly take away a benefit that employees were receiving for years. And so we thought it's important to start dialogue with the workers' representatives and give them a grace period. And after that grace period, and so for the next 3 months, those persons can continue to enjoy what the law allow them to enjoy. And then, of course, effective March 1st, that benefit would stop.
The line staff union at BEC says they will comply with any policy implemented by government across the board. BEC Chairman Leslie Miller is pleased with the decision. He admits BEC stands to save millions of dollars with this move.
BEC over the last 10 years has spent approximately $15 million on that double dipping. So it's excessive when you look at the fact that our country is right now in dire straits financially, and people are hurting, and 5,000 people today are still without lights. I would have wished to have it done now, but there's never a wrong time to do the right thing. So they have a 3 month grace period, and after that, that's it.
Now, despite the March 1st implementation date, the government is still engaged in yet another process to ensure that this decision is now made permanent. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
Meantime, Labor Minister Shane Gibson also addressed the standoff between the Bahamas Union of Teachers and the government. Minister Gibson said while the teachers union is entitled to express its views and concerns, there are still labor laws that must be followed. One such law speaks to matters before the Industrial Tribunal. And the minister says all of the BUT matters are before that tribunal, and that could prevent the union from moving forward with a strike vote.
They themselves came out publicly and said that they have no confidence that it can be resolved with the government. And so since they had no confidence, the easiest thing to do is to refer to the tribunal and let the tribunal make the ruling. Whatever ruling the tribunal makes, then the government is bound to live by it. If I know that the Act says that once a matter is referred to the Industrial Tribunal, all industrial action must cease. If I know that and you know that, and you could go and read the Labor Act and you can see that, then everybody can see it.
The government is exploring the possibility of value-added tax being charged to your electricity bill. However, with a campaign promise to lower the cost of electricity, many are wondering how this can be achieved. Well, Bahamas Electricity Corporation Chairman Leslie Miller maintains that while the final decision will rest with the cabinet, he's reassuring the public that some things are taking place to ensure BEC costs do go down.
I believe that the Bahamian people are going to, over the next few years, see a good reduction in their light bills. We're doing some things that the minister has mandated us to do, and the Prime Minister, and we look forward to having some decreases brought forward very shortly within the new year for the Bahamian people.
Well, before you take all those gifts and place them under your Christmas tree, you got any gifts yet?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
Hopefully.
Well, throw those TV boxes out on the garbage heap. Think again.
Our Janina Ferguson tells us that this is just some of the advice that senior officers of the Royal Bahamas Police Force dished out to residents on this holiday season to ensure the safety of you and your loved ones.
If the deal sounds too good to be true, then possibly it is not true.
That's the advice coming from head of the Business and Technology section of the Central Detective Unit, Assistant Superintendent Matthew Edgecombe. With the busy holiday season upon us, ASP Edgecombe says this is when most residents let their guard down and can find themselves on the other side of the law for purchasing stolen goods. It's also a time when counterfeit currency and credit cards are mostly used. But even after various warnings, Edgecombe says many persons are still being lured into car scam.
I ask them, let me see the car. You can meet with them at the police station or any place you can meet with them, with somebody else with you, see their ID, see the car they're talking about, find out if they really own the car. Before you put any money on anybody's account, verify it, please.
According to Superintendent Stephen Dean, statistics show that 50% of crime is caused by creating opportunities for criminals. A common example is leaving a purse unattended in a vehicle or openly placing your bag in the trunk. He's also advising business persons to monitor their surroundings.
Business persons are counting their money in the front of all their employees. They had a good sale, so they're bragging in the front of them, counting their monies. Customers, everybody can see what's happening there. We are saying that the precautions.
Meantime, officers from the Road Traffic Division will also be on the lookout. Officer in charge, Assistant Superintendent Craig Stubbs, is warning persons to refrain from driving under the influence. He's also advising parents not to encourage underage driving.
You find persons like 15, 16, 17 are driving these vehicles and they are not qualified. We're going to encourage parents. Once that is fine, the enforcement side will take place. We will initiate charges against the person driving, and also the owners of those vehicles will also be charged.
As we head into the peak of the holiday season, police officials are advising residents to do their part in helping to prevent crime. Now, if you see a crime, hear about a crime, they're asking you to help them solve the crime by calling 911 or 919. Janae Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Janaea. Well, a cross-section of society assembled at the Super Club Breezes Resort today to participate in an interpersonal relationship building conference aimed at overcoming threats to an all-inclusive society and addressing lawlessness in the family, as well as focusing on cultural diversity. Tourism Minister, the Honorable Obi Bolshcom, delivered the keynote address that highlighted the shift needed to create an all-inclusive nation. A major part of that, he said, is ensuring that Bahamians know their heritage.
Understand what you are supposed to be all about. Understand what your culture is. We don't have enough of cultural events in the Bahamas. You can't have a production today and then don't have another one for the next year. Well, if you're fighting the threats and the movement of other cultures in your community, you have to have a constant flow of information. You have to have art shows, you have to have public presentations, you have to have more lectures, you have to have more speeches, you have to have more talk, you have to have shows, sitcoms, and everything else on your television station. You have to constantly cause for a flow of information and an understanding of who the people are. Otherwise, you will grow up a generation that has no appreciation of who you are.
Well, the government tabled several communications in the House of Assembly this morning, among them an amendment to the Child Protection Bill 2013. Our caller Palmer is following today's proceedings.
Acting on a promise following the death of 11-year-old Marco Archer, who was sexually molested and killed, the government this Wednesday noted its intention to table legislation to amend the Child Protection Act before year's end, not only in his memory, but for the protection of children throughout the country moving forward. The established guidelines will take on the acronym MARCO for mandatory action rescuing children operation. National Security Minister, Member of Parliament for Baines and Grantstown, the Honourable Dr. Bernard Nottage, called it a bittersweet day as he made the announcement. The late Marco Archer was a constituent of Dr. Nottage at the time he was brutally killed.
The alert system that we are today, the guidelines for today, is similar to the Amber Alert in the United States. The amendment to the Child Protection Act seeks to ensure that never again would a loved one feel as though they would have to wait several days if a child or a young person goes missing.
Dr. Nottage also noted the government's intention to move legislation introducing a sexual offenders register.
Of violent sexual crimes has wreaked havoc on our small Christian society for far too long.
The government's Small Home Repairs Initiative was also highlighted. Intended to impact residents throughout the country, the government is starting off with a base investment of $10 million. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Urban Development, the Honourable Philip Davis.
The Commission currently has more than 500 requests from homeowners in the various areas in hand. Of those requests, the Commission has executed and mobilized 102 contracts in 17 constituencies of New Providence. Contractors are working hard to cause many homeowners to enjoy the Christmas season sheltered from nature's elements.
I'm Carla Palmer for ZNS Network News.
Prime Minister the Right Honourable Perry Christie presented a report in Parliament today about his trip to the 23rd session of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting held in Sri Lanka. The Prime Minister spoke on the investment meetings he engaged in while not only in Sri Lanka but in London and Rome as well. The Prime Minister says he had talks concerning the potential development of almost every sector in the country, from agriculture to the establishment of a world-class resort.
Without saying, sir, that I firmly believe that what has been accomplished on the trip that I have made has enhanced our country's reputation and will assist in bringing business to the Bahamas and thereby jobs for our people. I also believe that I have deepened relations with states abroad and in the Commonwealth in particular. The Bahamas has made, Mr. Speaker, its presence felt on the international scene.
Over in the Senate today, the Attorney General revealed that technology will be utilized even more in the months ahead in a bid to reduce the backlog of cases and promote efficiency in the justice system. Fern Carey tells us about this morning's session in the upper chamber.
Government leader in the Senate and Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson says come next year, technology will play an even greater role in ensuring that the justice system runs more efficiently. She indicated that discussions are already underway for an online court of appeal, while steps are being taken to ensure adequate provisions for the empaneling of juries, proper witness care, full-time public defenders, and a modern court reporting unit.
A consultant who has set up a modern court reporting unit, and we are well on the way to establishing a 21st century court reporting unit that will enable transcripts to be available in a timely fashion.
And with criminal cases being set down for 2016, Maynard Gibson noted that the 5 temporary courts expected to be up and running in January are expected to resolve that issue while addressing the backlog of cases. However, she noted that residents also have a role to play in ensuring that the system runs smoothly.
Really emphasize to our citizens that everybody, that's no good sitting in your chair, drinking your lick, having some pizza or chicken or going down to the fish fry complaining about the system. Crack Long, fish fry, where? The point I'm making is don't just complain about the problem. You are the solution.
Meantime, Maynard Gibson said the Office of the Attorney General will be moving to its new headquarters on JFK Drive in the days ahead. Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
In our first look at weather, the high pressure over the Bahamas will continue to build over the next couple of days, resulting in an increase in winds. But outside of our studios, we have just a few clouds. Your temperature 74 degrees, relative humidity at 70%. Your winds are out of the east at 5 knots. Barometric pressure 1,017.4 millibars at 30.04 inches, and it is steady. But stay tuned. Temperatures surrounding family violence, travel and boating forecast is still to come.
Coming up, find out what some accountants think about the country being ready for VAT.
And the future is now here with a phone call from your watch. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Shell Helix Ultra. Performance you can see.